Welcome, everyone. I'm Paula Kioki, CEO of Outward Media, and this is the B2B Influence Spotlight on Game Changers in the B2B World podcast. Today, we have from across the pond the CEO of Literal Humans. His name is Paul David Perry, and welcome. He's originally from Philly, everybody, but he's been living in the UK. So, welcome to LA.
Thanks for having me on the show, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you had time to stop by.
Yeah.
Um, Today, we're going to talk about how purpose-driven storytelling and data-informed creativity helps agencies and brands stand out. Paul David is going to share how Little Humans challenged the status quo, built its ideal customer profile, and turned authenticity, tough word to say, into growth. So I'm excited to hear about it. First of all, I love your name.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise. Always nice to meet another Paul.
Yeah, Paul and Paula, there was
Yeah.
a story, there was a song about us a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
That was back in the 50s.
Okay.
So, Little Humans was literally born in the middle of the pandemic, which
Yeah.
is no small feat in itself.
hmm
And Paul quickly reached over 1 million in ARR. That's phenomenal in itself. So, what do you think fueled that early traction, and how have you kept the momentum going since the pandemic? Because we're 3 years outside the pandemic now.
Yeah, appreciate that. And it's nice of you to say. I think early traction, a couple of reasons. One, it's always your team. It's always having a team that is like executing and keeping clients happy and, just producing good work. So that to me is like the foundation. I think the second piece was we just timed it really well. So coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people were kind of lifting their heads back up and wanting, really great, growth strategy, content strategy in particular. A lot of people were still sat at home, which meant that,
Mhm.
a lot more eyeballs for attention. So yeah, that the timing, I think timing matters a lot. I think, most people attribute it to some sort of special quality. I think timing has a lot more to do with it in context.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
they say timing is everything, right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. It's,
timing
well,
and then being able to follow up with the goods, right?
exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for
So,
go ahead.
uh,
I was gonna say for the startups in the audience, and we're probably gonna have another round of people trying to do startups with the way the economy is going. What were your most successful channels and methods for attracting customers and prospects?
yeah, look, for us, like it's a lot of referrals, a lot of, just building relationships, partnerships. We had a few VC firms, we had a few sort of incubators and accelerators who, put us on their expert bench and said, hey, we're going to just send you pipeline, which we're super grateful for. Shout out to folks like, Aaron over at Camelback Ventures and, Hannah over at Blank VC. And so we're really grateful for that. Partnerships, I think, is everything. It's such a crucial skill and strategy. And then we also did a bunch of outbound as well. So we
Mhm.
really focused on rebranding as like a critical need for a lot of organizations. And we produce a lot of rebranding content, templates, kits, just really useful tactical tools specifically for rebranding, which brought us a lot of branding clients. Yeah.
And then from getting the branding clients, did you also go to take them further down the path beyond branding? Okay.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we kind of started out as like a content and SEO agency, but that sort of allows you to play in lots of different, sort of sub markets within marketing, as you probably know. And so, yeah, we ended up getting into strategy and branding and design and web development as well, a little bit of PR. So it's just that classic agency thing of like, do we go full service or do we
Mhm.
like really, really niche down? And we chose to go a little bit more full service and holistic.
Mhm. And you're staying in that lane, right?
We are because
Yeah.
we like the intellectual rigor. We like having, cross-disciplinary teams. We like kind of being a one-stop shop for our clients. I know there's a lot of debate about that in the agency space. Like, do you niche down? Do you, go bigger, broader? But we like being the size that we are, serving a lot of different sort of verticals within marketing. And we think, obviously AI is going to further enable that.
We're just at the tip of that, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So your agency is built around data-informed creative strategy. Can you walk us through how your team integrates analytics or audience insights into your creative decision-making process?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is like sort of it starts, before you even land the client, it starts with who you hire, what their backgrounds are. So for example, we have a senior designer called Joe who has a background in behavioral science, and we also have trained the entire team in behavioral science through a partner agency that we work with. So that grounds the team in behavioral science, audience insights. We've worked with another partner who builds audience insights programs where we interview, the customers of our clients on a quarterly basis and then pull those insights into the content we produce, the strategy we produce. And then obviously you have your dashboarding and your analytics and building those dashboards at the beginning, making sure you're tied into the client's CRM so that you can attribute the work you're doing to actual revenue. I think that's where a lot of agencies fall down. They're just pure
Attribution.
creatives. Yeah,
Yeah.
attribution, and they're just like pure creatives who aren't tying the creativity and the strategy to,
And if there's no attribution, then sometimes you can't even make a case to keep the client. You can't prove your ROI, right?
precisely. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think the one-stop shop. I think personally that I like that strategy. And then if you need to bring in something that just doesn't happen to fit, you know where to go get it if you need to. But then they have one central focus of who they're working with. It's kind of like dealing with fractional CMOs, right? I mean, they go find all the different things and if they have to make it work. But for yourself, I like the one-stop shop myself.
Precisely. Yeah. I mean, I think like, look, like even agencies at their best who are like full service, like they still bring in freelancers, they still bring in partners to deliver things, right? So if you can just position yourself as that strategic partner, that fractional CMO who, maybe you can get 80, 90% of it done in-house, but you're still going to bring in resources, that just makes you invaluable. And it's acknowledging that like founders are busy and they would like to have a trusted growth partner to go to for most things. So it's sort of scratching that itch.
Hmm. For sure. So you've talked about, excuse me, growing little humans in a crowded agency landscape, and everybody knows there's a ton of agencies, right? And as you know, it's no small feat to disrupt the status quo because people usually disrupt the status quo because of fear or potentially pricing. Uh, when so many businesses already have agencies or marketing frameworks in place, can you share how those early challenges of breaking through shaped your thinking about differentiation and how you identify the right fit for clients for your own agency?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and it's like such a evolutionary journey. Like honing, I saw when I walked into your office today, you had your personas on the board there, and
Yes.
like you just have to like constantly like revisit that and refine it and sharpen it, and I think the clients that we work with now have shifted, somewhat, but not massively. But you just get much more precise, and hey, now we have a whole what we call strategic growth assessment, where we really look at these 9 different areas of businesses as we onboard them, and we make companies pay for it. It's this hugely valuable, analytic tool for just understanding your entire business, not
Mhm.
just your marketing or growth stack. And then we take that data into the projects that we run with clients, and we say, hey, this is stuff that we own, and that we can run for you or run beside you. But this is other stuff that's related to that around your sales cycle, around just even your leadership, your C-suite that arguably you should address so that our work can be effective, on our side of things. So there's that. And then, yeah, just revisiting that ICP on a regular basis to make sure you're working for and with the right people.
And I think that's lacking sometimes. And once it's just been established, people just say, "Well, that's it." But the marketplace is constantly changing, and you kind of change with it, right?
100%.
Staying on top of it. But I would think sometimes the clients don't really understand that until you tell them. Yeah.
Yeah, to your question, like there's a lot of client education, and I think you're like the status quo thing is interesting because I think like there is the status quo, but also the landscape has shifted underneath. Uh,
Mhm.
so like what people think is the status quo is shifted. So it makes it a bit easier for agencies that are willing to be a bit bolder, to reposition, to even rebrand,
Mhm.
to kind of take advantage of that. And look, after 5 years, especially in today's world, like things get a little stale.
Mhm.
Like we
Mhm.
didn't have Chat GPT and all these
Right.
tools.
Right.
So you got to move.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Exponentially now with AI, it's everything's just moving faster and faster and faster. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now. And I
I
think in
agree.
the next 2 years, it's how do you see that impacting your business, incorporating AI?
I mean, it already is, everything from the micro level to, coding assistant for our developer to, a design tool for our designer to, translate desktop, wireframes into or desktop renderings to, mobile renderings,
Mhm.
um, all the way up to a strategy partner. Like you can create a project and wall it off and make sure your client data is secure, but interact with generative AI to help develop and sharpen strategy. And it can be kind of a thought partner, and obviously writing, for writing support is hugely helpful. And analytics as well. Just processing all that data and like giving you insights. I think there's so many ways, and I feel grateful that AI has sort of hit the marketing and agency space first. It
Mhm.
wasn't pretty. It was hard. It's been tough, in its own way, but it really has shown us like we can incorporate it, we can integrate it, and we should. And I think we can actually be an industry that shows other industries how to do similar. Now it's going to be different from industry to industry, but I'm actually grateful that it's hit us hard and early.
That because it saves a lot of time. And then 2, I think if you're not one of the big conglomerate type agencies, I think the medium to small are adopting it faster, I think, and implementing it faster. And I think personally that they're ahead of the game a little than some of these really big conglomerates. I think that over time they're gonna maybe have some trouble a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
The
my
big
thought.
the big dogs, like I've seen some presentations from like WPP and things like
Yeah,
that. I mean, the big dogs, like they're building their big planner tools, AI planner tools that human planners can use to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And so I think they'll be ahead in their own way. But I agree that like small and nimble, at least that's the space that I want to play in. I think it's just really interesting. So
yeah, I think we're gonna see a little bit of collapsing in the industry over time.
I've heard this
Yeah.
prediction,
Um,
and I'm okay with it
yeah,
personally.
yeah,
It would benefit me.
and the strong shall survive,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And maybe it needs to happen. Like I think you got a lot of people who are tired of these big holding companies and conglomerates that are just soaking up all the resources and the clients and the money, and people want a bit more. We've got a couple proposals from big name, one of the largest universities in the world. I'm not going to name them right now. They're our current client, one of the
Okay.
most well known, and we've got a tender for them right now for running part of their social media strategy, and they're coming away from big agencies that they feel like just have treated them like another number.
Yeah,
And we've got a lane to take a contract that, fingers crossed,
yeah,
is going to totally change our agency, and that arguably would go to these big,
right.
holding companies, and it was with them before, and they just said we weren't being treated well. So.
Well, I think that's part of the personal attention, and, because, I've heard for years, "Oh, well, the upper level creatives come in, make the presentation, then they hand it out to a college graduate to go implement," and it's just about it's not the personal attention of the project, and then they just spend the media and it's done, and I think those days are that's gone. I mean, I think that, people want the brain power and the attention.
Yeah, and the human touch, like one of the
The
reasons
human
I'm
touch.
here.
Therefore, literal humans.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like you asked me about that in the pre-show. Like we just got super lucky with what we named the agency
I
5
like
years ago.
I like
And it's real stuff. It's like I was saying to our chief of staff earlier on the drive here, like, part of the reason I'm in LA is I had a whole day with one of our new clients, and we did a strategy session, and the stuff that we uncovered, and I got to, have a meal with them and meet their families, and, get to know them on a deeper personal level, and hear about their life outside of being this, shape on my Slack channel,
Yep,
like just
yep.
kind of, and that I think has enriched the partnership and made it so much stronger. And just as a professional, it's given me a lot more insight into the ways that I can support them,
Mhm.
and it's not just a contract, it's really a relationship.
Yep, yep.
So yeah.
Very important. Relationships are very important. So as your agency continues to grow, where are you most focused on for expansion? Is it deeper creative capabilities, new service lines like paid media or influencer marketing, or more data and technology integration? Where do you see yourself heading?
Yeah. Um, I mean, all those fronts, and it's
Oh,
almost like, yeah, it's like it's almost overwhelming because like you're just trying to keep up. So what I will say is like I think we're trying to, you know, be really discerning and intentional about the tools that we onboard so that it can unlock more of our ability to be even more human and to be more creative and more strategic. So like that's the top line. For us, it's less about new service lines, though I say we are moving more into paid, but and definitely data and technology integration. So getting a lot sharper with like cleaning up the data in our CRM, having stronger analytics tools to really prove ROI for the work that we're doing with clients, which is absolutely critical. That's been the biggest shift I've seen is clients are just like, okay, I'm spending this and what's it making me? And that's a completely fair question that I think marketing industry and agencies have frankly avoided. And I think there's a reckoning that's happening right now, rightly so. So yeah, it's, how do we have tools that level everyone up, that take the menial and boring stuff off of our plates as AI should and allow us to be better partners for our clients.
Stop be able to use more creativity, right? Yeah. The mundane stuff's not any fun.
And
Right.
that's stuff that like, as a leader of a creative team, that's the stuff that the team wants to do.
Mm,
The designer wants to
mhm,
imagine
mhm.
more shapes and colors and ways of structuring things, and the writer wants to write, and
How
you
to
know,
get the message out and
uh,
make it resonate and then
yeah,
get back to what we started at the beginning with, to create the ROI and be able to get the attribution of the ROI, right?
exactly. One thing I would say too is that I left out. I think is well, there's two things. Brand. I think brand, like we're absolutely over indexing on
Okay.
brand purpose. We think and suspect that obviously like we're going to continue to be awash in a lot of like AI slop, frankly, in a lot of ways. So like making your brand stand out, making your brand have a human identity, making your brand even have like a sound. We're talking to 11 Labs about sonic branding and
What is that?
like just give like think about what like when I say to doom, like who
Mhm.
do you think of, right? You think of Netflix, right? Like
Oh,
to
right, right.
yeah,
I
exactly, right.
love
So
that sound.
they have
And with Nike, it was whoosh, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like there's lots of brands that have a
Oh,
sonic brand, right? And I think like
I
um
like
yeah, so like thinking about that stuff, but brand writ large.
mhm,
Because I think brand is just it's so for me as a marketer, it's like very intellectually stimulating to think about how to nurture and cultivate brands that are memorable, that are powerful, that have emotionally resonant connections with people. And then the other side of it we're thinking about is talent. How do we like help people find the right, sort of marketing and growth strategy talent, number one. How do we help the people that we're working with just be better growth practitioners and marketers,
mhm,
right? So like we want to leave every engagement with our clients having leveled up and really learning and growing from, their experience working with us so that they just know marketing and growth better. Because what we see is like a lot of our clients get in their own way. They
mm.
get in their own way because they try and tell me, the marketer, they would never tell a brain surgeon, hey, like work on this part of the brain with this tool. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like, and so we need to be empathetic and patient and kind with our clients and say like, yeah, I've got this and like come along for this ride. And, if you listen to me and you understand, I can actually make you a better marketer and a better growth strategist as well. So, over indexing on talent, human talent, I would say
Mhm.
as well.
And so over time, it resonates, right?
Yeah, yeah, they grow with you, and again, back to literal humans, right? Like we can come up with the best strategy, deploy the best ad creative, but if that isn't aligned with like the client and their human journey of understanding growth on a deeper, better level, then what are we doing? Like we're gonna get in our own way. So we got to solve for that human piece, even as we have all these new AI tools to do things faster and better.
Do you find if people don't see your vision, do you end up maybe not taking the business, or do you feel like they do end up coming along for the ride, as you mentioned?
It honestly varies from client to client, but I think you do, to your question, like sometimes you have to be discerning and just say like, this isn't, I don't think this partnership, you should do this in general. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think this partnership is going to work. I think we have more integrity about that. I think in the past, like again, to light a fire into the marketing profession, I think a lot of us, if we're honest, have taken on a lot of briefs and done a lot of work. Look, we need to pay the bills. We all need to pay the bills.
Yeah,
But like we know some of those engagements we've taken on, like
yeah,
we shouldn't have. We
yeah,
shouldn't have.
yeah.
And can we be honest with ourselves about that and forgive ourselves and then try to do better in the future?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And just like be more discerning because like it sucks to have an engagement that ends poorly and everyone's upset and people feel like they've wasted money and time. Like that's a bummer. So
I think
how do we
too
avoid that?
I think too, if you're honest upfront with people and say, "I don't think this is gonna work," I think people appreciate that.
100%.
That's I walked away from business, people get, "You're really not gonna do it?" "No, because I don't think it's gonna work."
100%.
Okay. I mean, we've had it, and I'm not going to use names, but ones when we
Yeah.
educate on acquisition email marketing,
Right.
this is the things that we've done for since 2007 as it's evolved. This is what I know you need to do, and then they don't do it. They still want to do it. It fails, but we were on the record. That's not how you do
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it. And what are they paying you for if they have their core business, you have your core business, and then they intersect. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. I think it's a real moment. Like I appreciate the integrity with which, you've operated and you're talking, and like, it's a real moment for us to like really look around at our profession and say like, hey, how can we take advantage of this moment where AI is coming in, lowering the cost of producing creative and frankly challenging the structure of our profession, and be honest with ourselves about how we can improve it and have more integrity with clients, have more sort of connection to results, I think, and accountability for results. I think it's definitely it's a moment, and I think we need to like start to self-regulate ourselves a little bit as marketers and improve our industry.
well, then I also think the clients are starting to demand it more. I think that's
100%.
why, like when you're talking about the big dogs, I think that's why some of them are like losing some clients, because they want an approach more like yours,
Yeah.
the human touch.
Human
So,
yet impactful. Human yet like
and impact.
results oriented. Like
Yeah.
I think sometimes when we say human, it feel like we can be like soft and fluffy and stuff like that. It's like ultimately it's both. Like people want to the CMO at the startup, the CEO, at the charity, like they want to feel like they have a personal relationship with the people that they hire at a really high price to help them grow their business. And if like think about that, that is such a sacred. Like I try to tell the team sometimes, like these are people who have like raised millions of dollars, maybe they've bootstrapped, and they're bringing us on to help their business succeed, not just succeed, to grow,
Mhm,
which they've got accountability to boards and to
mhm,
investors and funders, and like that is so sacred,
mhm.
like, and you got to really like we get so cynical about work sometimes, obviously, and we all live in capitalism, blah blah blah.
Right,
Yes,
right.
but like these are people whose like lives are on the lines. Like they're trying to
Yes,
put their kids in school, they're trying to pay
yes,
mortgages.
yes.
Like you got to take that really seriously as marketers, I think. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's about your reputation too,
100%.
because if you don't do it that way, then all I've always been taught that what precedes you is your reputation, so
100%.
you don't
Yeah.
wanna ruin that. So, we kinda like to end on a forward-looking note, so if you could pose one question for the next marketing leader who sits in this chair, something about where the field is headed or how it's evolving, what would you wanna ask them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's about like, yeah, threading that needle. So how did they intend to kind of thread that needle of, maintaining and not just maintaining, but elevating like humanity in the marketing practice and the growth strategy practice, while also, incorporating this incredible moment that we're in of
Mhm.
the development of AI and still, like balance and maintain those relationships with clients while achieving results. Like to me, that's the fundamental question. It's very long-winded. It's stay human, integrate the tech, and then achieve those results in the context of relationships. Like how are you going to do that? That is the puzzle, the puzzle pieces that we need to fit together.
And in my opinion, no small feat.
Oh, it's big. It's
And
big and it's different from client to client. It's
Mhm.
different from agency to agency. And that's what I love about the work we do. Like every client, every engagement is this like puzzle to put together and, the series of relationships and,
Yeah.
different levers to pull at different times. Like that's what gets me up in the morning. It's fascinating work.
It is, and then to your point also is each company has their own culture, that you're adapting and fitting into as well, right? So,
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
this has been great. I appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time to come by. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Paul David, Literal Humans, and yeah, literalhumans.com is our website. We'll be rebranding it very soon, so look out for that. And yeah, we also have a weekly podcast, which we'll have to get you on, Paula.
Okay,
We'll
good.
do a little swap. It's called Tech
Okay.
Can't Save Us. So yeah, would
Okay.
love to have you on.
Oh, wonderful. Well,
Yeah,
I know you've been busy of seeing clients and coming all the way from the UK, and even though you're originally from Philadelphia, I really appreciate you taking the time to come by.
likewise, and thanks for tolerating me being
Okay.
late because of
Yeah,
LA
no
traffic
worries.
as well.
I should have warned you. I should have
Yeah,
warned you.
no, you don't need to. I've been here before. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on, Paula. I
Okay.
really
Thank
respect the work
you.
that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's it for today's episode of B2B Influence. If you picked up something new or found yourself rethinking your approach, take a second to subscribe, leave a quick comment, and share this episode with your network. And don't forget, once we hit 25,000 subscribers, one lucky listener will win a free customer analysis. Just subscribe and comment to enter. If you want to be a guest or know someone pushing the boundaries in B2B marketing, tap the link in the show notes to nominate or apply. And if you're ready to fuel smarter campaigns and more accurate targeting, check out what we're doing at OMI.